She hired me to fix her garage light, then asked, "Can you fix it tonight and stay?" Alex Mercer had fixed a lot of things in his life: broken computers, leaky pipes, and even a robot vacuum that refused to stop bumping into walls. But tonight, he was about to face something entirely different. It started with a call from a woman named Dr. Ilara Voss. The voice over the line was calm, almost bored, but carried an unusual confidence. "Mr. Mercer," she said, "I need someone to fix my garage light. Can you come tonight?" Alex raised an eyebrow. "Fix a light?" He'd done that countless times, but something about the tone of her voice made him pause. It wasn't urgent exactly. It was knowing. "Sure," he replied. "I can come by tonight." "What time?" She gave an address and hung up without another word. Alex grabbed his tool bag, which carried everything a handyman might need: screwdrivers, voltage testers, spare bulbs, and a few gadgets he had built himself. His car hummed quietly as he drove through the city streets. Outside, neon lights glowed faintly through the fog, reflecting in puddles from an earlier rain. The city had its usual rhythm: cars, bikes, and the low hum of drones flying above. But Alex felt a small thrill. This wasn't going to be a simple repair. Somehow he knew it. When he arrived, the house looked unusual. Unlike the other buildings on the street, this one seemed almost alive. Soft lights traced along the edges of its walls, moving as though guided by some unseen hand. The garage door was sleek and metallic, with a strange shimmer that made him hesitate. Alex shook his head. "It's just a light," he muttered to himself, climbing out of the car. He carried his tool bag and walked to the door. A panel by the side glowed and scanned his hand. After a moment it beeped green and the door slid open silently. Inside, the garage was bigger than it looked from outside. It was spotless, and everything seemed to float just above the ground. Drones zipped around, cleaning and organizing tools with precision. And there it was, the light. It hung from the ceiling like any ordinary garage light, but it flickered with a pattern that made Alex pause. "Hello," he called. A soft voice replied, "Right over here." Alex turned to see a woman standing by the far wall. She was tall, with dark hair tied back in a practical knot. Her eyes were sharp and bright, and the way she held herself made it clear she was used to being in charge. "I'm Dr. Ilara Voss," she said, extending a hand. "You must be Alex Mercer." He shook it, noticing the slight warmth in her grip. "That's me. You called about the light," she smiled faintly. "Yes, but I think it's more than just a light. Can you fix it tonight and stay?" Alex blinked. "Stay?" "Yes," she said. "Just observe for a while. I think it might need a human touch." Alex didn't like it when people didn't explain things, but curiosity won over caution. "All right, let's see what's going on." He set down his tool bag and climbed a small ladder to inspect the light. At first glance it was ordinary, a simple fixture with a bulb inside. But as he watched, the flickering pattern became clearer. It wasn't random. It pulsed in a rhythm, almost like it was communicating. Alex frowned. He had never seen anything like it. He pulled out his multimeter and tested the connections. Everything looked normal. The wiring was correct and the power supply was stable. Yet the flickering continued, subtle but deliberate. "Interesting," Alex muttered. Dr. Voss watched him quietly. "It's part of an experiment," she said finally. "Most of my systems are automated, but some things need human intuition." Alex paused. He had worked with machines all his life. Computers, robots, drones, they could follow instructions perfectly. But intuition, that was something else, something only humans could do. "What do you mean?" he asked. She gestured to the light. "It's not just a light, it's a small quantum device. I use it to test patterns in energy fields. Normally, AI can handle this, but the readings are unusual tonight. I need someone human to make sense of it." Alex swallowed. Quantum devices were complicated, delicate, and sometimes dangerous, but he had always loved a challenge. "All right," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "I can take a look. But I've never fixed a quantum light before." Dr. Voss smiled. "No one has, that's why you're here." Alex took a deep breath and began his inspection. He checked the circuits, tapped on the panels, and watched the light carefully. It flickered in a rhythm that almost seemed to respond to his movements. Each adjustment he made changed the pattern slightly, as if it recognized his touch. "This is weird," he muttered. "It's supposed to be," she replied. "That's why I need you." Machines can't notice subtle variations like humans can. Your senses, your reactions, they make you ideal for this test. Alex looked up at the ceiling. The light pulsed again, and he felt a faint warmth wash over his hands. He realized that somehow the device was aware of him, not in a conscious way, but in the way it responded to his actions. It was learning. "Learning?" he asked, astonished. "Yes," Dr. Voss said, "but slowly. It only reacts to human input." "That's what makes it safe most of the time," Alex nodded. He adjusted a small dial on the side of the fixture and the light shifted in a new pattern. "There, that seems stable." Dr. Voss walked closer, her eyes studying him. "Impressive. Most people would have given up by now." "You notice the pattern immediately and you adapt. That's exactly what I need." Alex felt a mix of pride and unease. He had done a simple repair, but it was no ordinary repair. He was part of something bigger, something that went beyond circuits and wires. "Stay here tonight," she said again. "Just watch, observe what happens." Alex nodded. He set up a small chair near the garage wall, careful not to touch anything else. The light continued to flicker, but now it was calmer, almost like it had accepted him as part of its environment. As he watched, he noticed subtle movements in the shadows, tiny pulses of energy that seemed to drift in the air. The drones around him continued their work, but even they paused occasionally, as though unsure of the energy in the room. Hours passed quietly. Alex studied the patterns, noting every flicker and every pulse. Occasionally, the light brightened as if it acknowledged his attention. He realized that this wasn't just a device. It was a test, a puzzle, a challenge meant for a human mind. By midnight, Alex had discovered something remarkable. Small, repeating sequences that suggested the light was not malfunctioning at all. It was communicating, not in words but in rhythm, in energy, in subtle pulses that only a human could notice. "Doctor." Voss leaned against the doorway, watching him work. "You see it," she said softly. "Most would never notice. But humans see patterns where machines cannot. That's why we're the explorers. That's why we're essential." Alex smiled faintly, a sense of wonder filling him. Fixing the light was just the beginning. He didn't yet understand the full scope of what he was involved in, but he felt a spark of excitement. Something extraordinary was happening, and he was part of it. He didn't know it yet, but the night was far from over. The garage light was more than a test, more than a puzzle. It was the beginning of a journey that would challenge everything he knew about technology, energy, and the role of humanity in the future. And he was ready. The quiet hum of the garage filled the room, broken only by the soft flicker of the light above. Alex sat on the small chair he had placed near the wall, notebook in hand, scribbling notes on the strange patterns he had observed. Each pulse of light seemed deliberate, almost like it was trying to tell him something, and he couldn't shake the feeling that the device was more than just a test of his skills. Dr. Alara Voss had left him alone for a while, claiming she had other matters to attend to. Alex welcomed the solitude. He liked focusing without interruptions, especially when a problem was this unusual. He leaned forward, examining the light from every angle, running his fingers over the cool metallic casing. "This is incredible," he whispered to himself. "It's not broken, it's alive, in a way." He reached into his tool bag and pulled out a small scanner he had designed himself. It could detect unusual energy fluctuations in electrical devices. He pointed it at the light, and the small screen blinked with readings that defied normal logic. Voltage levels pulsed up and down in patterns that should have been impossible. Alex furrowed his brow. "This isn't just a bulb," he murmured. It's something else entirely. Just then, a soft mechanical whirring sound came from the corner of the garage. One of the drones floated closer, its sensors adjusting as if it were curious about what Alex was doing. But unlike the usual behavior of the automated helpers, this one hesitated and hovered silently. "Interesting," Alex said aloud. "Even the AI seems cautious." He set the scanner down and took a step back. The light flickered again, faster this time, almost as if it were reacting to his words. He blinked, then reached for a small panel on the side of the device. Carefully, he opened it. Inside were circuits unlike any he had seen before, thin, glowing filaments that seemed to hum with energy, bending and twisting like tiny ribbons of light. Alex's heart raced. He had worked with cutting-edge technology before, but this was something else entirely. The design was far beyond what he had seen in laboratories or tech magazines. "It's a quantum interface," he said, his voice low. "It's not just electronics, it's controlling energy in ways humans aren't supposed to understand yet." Suddenly, the light pulsed brighter, bathing the room in a warm glow. Alex stepped back instinctively, shielding his eyes. The energy felt alive. Not dangerous exactly, but powerful. Dr. Voss's voice came from behind him. "Careful, that device responds to your attention. It's learning from you, but it's sensitive. Too much interaction too quickly and it could overreact." Alex turned to see her standing at the doorway, arms crossed, watching him. "Overreact?" he asked, trying not to sound alarmed. She smiled faintly. "It won't harm you. But it could create energy fluctuations that even I can't predict if provoked. That's why I asked you to observe rather than touch it too much." Alex nodded slowly. "I understand, but it's fascinating. It's like it's alive, like it has a mind of its own." "In a way," she admitted, "but it's not conscious. At least not yet. It learns patterns, adapts, responds to stimuli. That's why humans are required to work with it. Machines can follow instructions perfectly, but they cannot respond with intuition. You notice what I could never program an AI to notice." Alex took another step closer, careful not to disturb anything. He watched the light pulse in response to his movements. Every flicker, every tiny shift of brightness seemed deliberate. He had spent hours studying circuits, but nothing had ever felt like this. "Can I try adjusting it again?" he asked hesitantly. Dr. Voss nodded. "Yes, slowly. Focus on observation first, then small adjustments. See how it reacts." Alex reached for a small dial on the side of the fixture. Gently, he turned it, almost imperceptibly. The light shifted in response, the pulses slowing down and changing rhythm. Alex watched, fascinated. He realized that this was a form of communication, not in words but in energy patterns. "Do you see that?" he asked. "It's responding to me." "Yes," Dr. Voss said. "It recognizes humans, not consciously, but it learns from our behavior. That's why you're here." Most people would never notice these subtle changes. Alex leaned back, taking it all in. The light continued to pulse, almost like it were alive, but also like it were studying him as much as he was studying it. The more he watched, the more he understood that this wasn't just about fixing a device. It was about understanding a new form of energy interaction that humans had never experienced before. Hours passed. Alex made small adjustments, each one carefully noted in his notebook. He tried different angles, different speeds, and even spoke softly to the device, observing how it responded. Slowly, a pattern began to emerge. The light flickered in a rhythm that suggested intention. It wasn't random. It was deliberate. "Doctor Voss," he said, finally turning to her, "this isn't broken. It's trying to communicate. It's learning from me." She nodded. "Exactly. That's what I suspected. That's why I needed a human to be here tonight. Most machines could never handle this. They would either ignore the pattern or misinterpret it. Humans notice the subtlety. That's our advantage." Alex felt a sense of pride. Humanity had created machines to serve them, yes, but here, he realized, humans still held a unique power, intuition, adaptability, creativity. No matter how advanced technology became, humans could see and react in ways machines never could. Suddenly, a small ripple of energy ran through the garage. The light pulsed brighter than before, and Alex felt a faint vibration in the floor beneath his feet. The drones whirred and hovered uncertainly, as if unsure how to react. "What is that?" he asked, eyes wide. "That," Dr. Voss said, stepping closer, "is the device responding to your presence. It's not dangerous, but it's learning faster than I expected tonight. That's why I asked you to stay. Your input is valuable." Alex took a deep breath. "It's amazing. I've never worked with anything like this. The patterns, the energy, it's like it's alive in some way." "Not alive," she corrected gently. "Adaptive, reactive, learning. That's what makes it safe mostly. But the more it learns, the more powerful it becomes." Alex nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and responsibility. This wasn't just a repair job. He was part of an experiment that could change the way humans interacted with energy, machines, and maybe even the future of technology itself. He spent the next few hours observing, taking notes, and making careful adjustments. Every flicker of light, every subtle shift in energy, he recorded meticulously. Slowly, he began to understand the patterns, predicting how the light would react before it even pulsed. "It's like a conversation," he said quietly to himself. "I adjust, it responds. I adjust again, it adapts. This is incredible." Dr. Voss smiled. "Exactly. And soon you'll understand why human input is essential. Machines can replicate calculations, but they cannot replicate intuition. That's what makes us indispensable." Alex felt a surge of pride. Humanity was often underestimated in a world of AI and advanced technology, but here he saw the truth. Humans were more than creators of machines. They were interpreters, adapters, explorers. Without human intuition, this device could never function safely or effectively. As the night deepened, the light pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. Alex continued his careful observations, making small adjustments and recording the results. The garage was silent except for the soft hum of energy and the occasional whir of drones. Hours passed, and Alex began to notice something remarkable. Tiny, repeating sequences were forming in the light's flicker, patterns that seemed almost like language. He could not understand it fully yet, but he knew that with patience he could decipher it. "This is just the beginning," he whispered. "If this is how it learns, imagine what humans could do with it." Dr. Voss nodded. "Exactly, that's why you're here. This device is more than a light. It's a bridge between human intuition and energy we have barely begun to understand. And tonight, you are the first human to interact with it in a meaningful way." Alex felt a thrill of excitement. He had started the night thinking it was a simple repair. Now he realized he was part of something extraordinary, something that could change the future. And he knew, deep down, that this was only the beginning. The garage felt different now. Alex had been observing the light for hours, taking notes, adjusting small dials and speaking softly to it. Each pulse, each flicker seemed to respond to him, almost as if the device were learning from his attention. But now something had changed. A faint vibration ran through the floor beneath Alex's feet. He looked around, uncertain. The drones hovered, their sensors glowing softly, but they did not approach. The light above pulsed brighter, faster than before, as if it were preparing for something. "Doctor." "Voss," Alex called, his voice steady but tinged with curiosity. She stepped from the shadows, her calm demeanor unchanged, though her eyes were sharper now, watching every movement. "It's starting," she said. "Stay focused. Observe carefully." "Don't interfere unless it's necessary," Alex nodded. His heart raced with anticipation. He had expected a challenging experiment, but this felt alive. Not in the sense of consciousness, but in the way it reacted to him, learning patterns, responding to his subtle gestures and attention. The light flickered in rapid sequences, forming pulses that seemed almost rhythmic. Alex leaned forward, notebook ready, and recorded each pattern. He noticed that the intervals between the pulses were not random. They accelerated and slowed as if responding to his presence. Suddenly, a bright flash burst from the light. Alex jumped back, shielding his eyes. When he looked again, the light was no longer simply hanging from the ceiling. It seemed to extend into the space around it. Waves of energy rippled outward, faintly distorting the air. The drones backed away slightly, unsure how to react. "What is that?" Alex whispered, awestruck. Dr. Voss's expression was calm, but there was a spark of excitement in her eyes. "It's a small portal," she explained. "The device has created a controlled energy field. Normally, it only pulses as a test pattern. But tonight, your human input has triggered a more advanced response." Alex felt a surge of both excitement and tension. He had expected unusual patterns, but a portal, that was beyond anything he had imagined. "Is it dangerous?" he asked. Dr. Voss shook her head. "Not if you handle it correctly, but it's unstable. That's why you're here. Your intuition can stabilize it where machines cannot. Watch closely. Learn its patterns." Alex stepped closer, careful to stay at a safe distance. The portal shimmered like a thin curtain of light, bending space around it. He could feel the subtle vibrations in the floor, the quiet hum of energy in the air, and the way the light above seemed to pulse in response to his movements. He studied the portal. The patterns of the light flickered in sync with the energy waves, forming sequences that he could almost understand. Small adjustments to the dials caused the pulses to slow, then speed up again. The portal fluctuated accordingly. "This is incredible," he whispered. "It's responding to me, to my intuition." Dr. Voss nodded. "Exactly. Most people would panic, but humans can adapt in ways machines cannot. That's why you're essential." Alex took a deep breath. He realized that this was a test, but not just of technical skill. It was a test of perception, observation, and calm thinking under pressure. One wrong move, and the portal could destabilize, disrupting the entire energy field. He began to adjust the light's controls slowly, deliberately. Each small change caused the pulses to shift slightly. The portal's edges wavered, then steadied. Alex noted the correlation, writing it down in his notebook. It felt like a dance. He moved, the device responded, and he adjusted again. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. The portal continued to pulse, and Alex's attention never wavered. He realized that this was more than a test. It was a form of communication. The device wasn't just responding, it was learning from him, anticipating his adjustments and adapting to his intuition. "Look at that," Dr. Voss said softly. "You're influencing it without even thinking consciously. That's human intuition at work. Machines could never do this." Alex smiled faintly. Pride and wonder mingled in his chest. Humanity had created incredible machines, yes, but here in this garage, he realized something vital. Human perception, creativity, and adaptability were irreplaceable. Without humans, devices like this could never reach their full potential. Suddenly, the portal shimmered more intensely. A ripple of light extended outward, creating shapes that flickered like symbols. Alex's eyes widened. These were not random patterns. They seemed deliberate, almost like a language. "What is it trying to say?" he murmured. "Doctor." Voss stepped closer. "It's not language as we know it. It's energy communication. The device is learning from your input, and in turn, it's responding in ways we can't fully interpret. But you can notice the patterns. That's why we need humans, to read what machines cannot." Alex nodded. He focused intently, studying the sequences. Each flicker of light, each ripple in the portal, formed a pattern that he could anticipate. He adjusted the dials slightly, and the portal responded, stabilizing further. "This is amazing," he whispered. "It's like a conversation, but in energy." Dr. Voss smiled. "Exactly, and tonight you're having the first real conversation. Machines can calculate, predict, and replicate, but they cannot intuit. That is our advantage. That is why humanity matters. Alex felt a deep sense of purpose. He had started the night thinking it was a simple repair. Now he understood. He was part of something extraordinary. He wasn't just fixing a device. He was participating in the first steps of a new frontier, an exploration of energy and human intuition. Suddenly, the portal flickered violently. The edges wavered, creating sharp distortions in the air. Alex froze. Something was changing. He noticed a pattern in the flickers, a rhythm he hadn't seen before. His intuition kicked in. Carefully, he adjusted the dials in a specific sequence, following the rhythm the device seemed to expect. The portal responded immediately. The violent flickers calmed, the edges stabilized, and the energy waves smoothed. Alex exhaled, relief flooding him. Dr. Voss clapped softly. Exactly, that's it. You see the pattern, you adapt, and you stabilize. Machines would have failed instantly. Alex nodded, still catching his breath. He realized that his human intuition, his ability to notice subtle changes, predict reactions, and act calmly under pressure, was what made the difference. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" he asked. Dr. Voss's eyes sparkled. "Yes. And that's why you're here tonight. The device has responded to you more than any AI ever could. You're part of something that could change the way humans interact with technology and energy, and perhaps even the universe itself." Alex's mind raced with possibilities. He had always loved working with machines, but this was something entirely new. It wasn't just about repairing, building, or programming. It was about understanding patterns, noticing subtleties, and interacting with energy in ways no one had done before. Hours passed. Alex continued to adjust, observe, and record. Each interaction strengthened his understanding. The portal remained stable, and the light's pulses became almost predictable. He realized that he was not just a participant, he was a teacher. The device was learning from him, adapting to his intuition and responding in increasingly complex ways. "Dr. Voss," he said finally, this is more than a test. It's a partnership. The device responds to me, but I learn from it too. It's like we're working together." She smiled. "Exactly. That is the essence of human advantage. Machines can calculate, but they cannot empathize, adapt, or intuit. You are teaching it, and it is teaching you. That is why humans are essential to the next step in technological evolution." Alex felt a surge of excitement. Humanity had always been underestimated in a world dominated by AI and machines. But here, he realized, humans still held a unique, irreplaceable power. As the night wore on, Alex continued to work with the light and the portal. Each adjustment, each observation, each careful interaction deepened his understanding. The device was no longer just a test. It was a bridge between human intuition and the energy beyond normal understanding. Finally, as dawn approached, the light pulsed gently and the portal stabilized completely. Alex leaned back in his chair, exhausted but exhilarated. He had faced his first real challenge, relying not on brute force or programming but on observation, intuition, and calm thinking. Dr. Voss approached him quietly. "You've done more than I could have hoped," she said softly. "Tonight you proved that humans are more than repairmen, engineers, or creators. We are interpreters, explorers, and adapters. And tonight you have shown that we are essential." Alex smiled, a sense of pride and wonder filling him. He had started the night thinking it was a simple repair. Now he understood that he had passed a test that no machine could ever pass. He had discovered the true power of human intuition and adaptability, and the adventure was just beginning. And deep down, he knew that this was only the first step. The garage was quiet now, bathed in the soft glow of the light above. Alex sat in his chair, notebook in hand, trying to process what had happened during the night. The portal remained stable, shimmering faintly as if it were waiting for something. He had learned more than he ever imagined about human intuition and the delicate interaction between humans and advanced technology. Doctor. Ilara Voss leaned against the far wall, watching him carefully. You've done exceptionally well, she said. But now it's time you understand what you're actually working with. Alex looked up, curiosity mixed with caution. I thought this was just a test, a device to see if I could interact with it. Is there more? She nodded. Much more. That light is not just a quantum test. It's a gateway, a controlled interface to explore dimensions beyond our own. Alex's eyes widened. Dimensions. You mean other worlds? Yes, Dr. Voss replied. Not just worlds, but possibilities. Realities that exist simultaneously, where energy can be manipulated in ways we can barely imagine. The device you've been working with is designed to interact safely with these energies, but it requires human intuition to stabilize it. Machines alone cannot do it. Alex leaned back, trying to absorb the information. It was incredible. All his life he had worked with technology, building and repairing things. But this was on an entirely different level. It wasn't just a repair job. It was a first step into something humanity had never truly explored. Why me? He asked. Why did you choose me for this? Dr. Voss smiled faintly. Because you notice what most people ignore. You see patterns where others see only chaos. That is why humans are essential. Not just for repairs, not just for calculations, but for understanding and adapting. You have passed the first test without even realizing it. Alex felt a mixture of pride and disbelief. He had fixed a light, or at least interacted with it, and somehow that qualified him for this mission. He looked back at the portal, still shimmering softly. And this portal, it's stable now. For now, Dr. Voss said. But that stability is fragile. Any sudden changes or mistakes could destabilize the field. That's why I needed you here. Your human intuition allowed us to reach this point. But there is more to do, and it will require even greater focus. Alex nodded, feeling a sense of responsibility he had never experienced before. This wasn't just about his skills. It was about humanity's ability to interact with unknown energies, to explore what no machine could manage alone. Dr. Voss walked over to a console on the far side of the garage and pressed a series of buttons. A holographic display appeared, showing complex patterns of energy waves, lines, and nodes Alex could barely understand. This, she said, gesturing to the display, is the network of energy fields connected to the device. Each node represents a point where quantum energy is concentrated. The light you repaired is the interface, the human touchpoint. Through it, we can observe, stabilize, and even interact with these energies safely. Alex studied the display, trying to comprehend the scale of it. The energy nodes pulsed in patterns that reminded him of the light's flickers. He realized that each interaction he had tonight was a small contribution to this larger network. So, my adjustments, they affected more than just the light, he asked. Yes, Dr. Voss replied. Every subtle movement, every tiny change you made influenced the energy flow. That is why human presence is critical. Machines would have calculated responses, yes, but they cannot interpret the nuances, the patterns that require intuition. Alex felt a surge of pride. Humanity had always been underestimated in a world dominated by artificial intelligence, yet here he could see why humans were indispensable. Intuition, adaptability, creativity, these were things no machine could replicate. Dr. Voss stepped closer to him. Alex, tonight you've proven that humans still matter in a way that machines cannot replace. But this is only the beginning. There is a larger experiment, one that requires direct human observation and intervention. The device is capable of more than stabilizing energy fields. It can open pathways, test realities, and explore unknown possibilities. Alex's heart raced. You mean I could actually interact with other dimensions? Yes, she said, but carefully. One mistake and the energy could destabilize, causing unpredictable consequences. That is why we need someone like you, someone who can notice subtle changes, adapt quickly, and think intuitively. Alex took a deep breath. He had always loved challenges, but this was beyond anything he had ever faced. This wasn't about fixing machines or repairing circuits. It was about exploring the unknown, interacting with energy and dimensions in ways humans had never attempted before. Dr. Voss smiled faintly. You have the skills, Alex, the human intuition that cannot be replicated by machines. That is why you are here, and if you are willing, you can take the next step. Alex hesitated for a moment, looking at the portal. The faint shimmer of energy reflected in his eyes, and he realized that this was more than a test, it was an opportunity. An opportunity to explore, to learn, and to contribute to something extraordinary. I'm ready, he said finally. Dr. Voss nodded. Good. Then we begin the next phase. She walked to a small control panel and activated a sequence on the device. The light above flickered, brighter than before, and the portal expanded slightly. Alex could feel the energy in the air, a gentle vibration that made the hairs on his arms stand on end. Observe carefully, Dr. Voss instructed. Watch the patterns. Notice the subtle shifts. Your intuition is the key to keeping this stable. Alex focused, leaning forward. He watched the portal carefully, noting the sequence of pulses and the rhythm of the light. He noticed small fluctuations in the energy field, tiny deviations that machines might not even detect. Slowly he began to adjust the dials, following the patterns he could sense intuitively. The portal stabilized, shimmering softly, as if acknowledging his adjustments. Alex felt a rush of excitement. He was not just repairing or observing, he was interacting, guiding, and stabilizing the energy through his own perception and intuition. This is incredible, he whispered. I've never experienced anything like this. Dr. Voss smiled. Exactly. And soon, you will realize that your role is more important than you imagine. Humans are essential for this experiment, for this exploration. Without intuition, without adaptability, the device cannot function fully. Hours passed as Alex continued to interact with the portal. Each adjustment, each observation, strengthened his understanding. He realized that the patterns were becoming more complex, almost like the device was responding to him as much as he was responding to it. This is a partnership, he said quietly. I adjust, it adapts, I observe, it responds. We're learning from each other. Dr. Voss nodded. Yes, that is the essence of human advantage. Machines calculate, humans intuit. That is why we are exploring the future with humans, not just with AI. And tonight, you've proven that human intuition is indispensable. Alex felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility. He had started the night thinking he was simply fixing a light, but now he understood the truth. He was part of something extraordinary, a human essential to a project that could change the way energy, technology, and perhaps even reality itself were understood. Suddenly, the portal flickered, more intensely this time. Alex's instincts kicked in. He adjusted the dials, following the rhythm he had observed, stabilizing the energy once again. The portal calmed, shimmering softly. You see, Dr. Voss said softly, your intuition saved the experiment. Machines would have failed. Humans notice patterns, adapt, and respond. That is our power, Alex nodded, feeling both awe and pride. Humanity had always been underestimated, yet here he saw the truth. Machines could compute, but humans could perceive, adapt, and guide. That was why they mattered. As dawn approached, the light above pulsed gently and the portal remained stable. Alex leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. He had uncovered the secret of the garage device. It was not just a light, not just a test. It was a bridge between human intuition and energies that could explore unknown dimensions. Dr. Voss approached him quietly. You've done more than I could have hoped, she said softly. Tonight, you proved that humans are not just creators of machines. We are interpreters, explorers, and essential participants in the future. And you, Alex, have shown that we are still indispensable. Alex smiled, feeling a deep sense of purpose. He had started the night expecting a simple repair. Now he knew he was part of something extraordinary, something that would challenge everything he knew about technology, energy, and humanity itself. And deep down, he knew that the next step would be even greater. Alex Mercer stared at the softly glowing portal, his heart pounding with excitement and awe. The night had been full of challenges, discoveries, and lessons he could never have imagined. What began as a simple repair job had become a journey into something extraordinary, a bridge between human intuition and energy beyond comprehension. Dr. Alara Voss stood beside him, calm as ever, but her eyes reflected the same anticipation that Alex felt. "Are you ready?" she asked quietly. Alex took a deep breath, looking at the shimmering surface of the portal. It rippled gently, like water disturbed by a light breeze, reflecting the faint glow of the garage above. The energy was alive, responsive, and somehow aware of him. Every adjustment, every observation he had made over the past night had led to this moment. "I think so," Alex said, his voice steady despite the nervous excitement bubbling inside him. Dr. Voss smiled faintly. "Good. Remember, this is the culmination of your observations. The portal is stable because of your human intuition. No machine could have achieved this. You are essential to what comes next." Alex nodded. He had spent hours observing the patterns of the light, the portal, and the energy fields. He understood that the portal was more than a passage. It was a test, a partnership, and a doorway to possibilities beyond their current understanding. "You'll step through carefully," Dr. Voss continued. "Observe, interact, and rely on your instincts. The energy field is sensitive, but your intuition will guide you." Alex adjusted his stance, feeling the vibration in the floor beneath his feet. The portal pulsed softly in response to his presence, almost like it was acknowledging him. He felt a faint warmth, a gentle hum of energy that resonated with his own heartbeat. Taking a slow step forward, he extended his hand toward the shimmering surface. The ripples responded instantly, spreading outward in patterns that matched his movements. He could feel the energy adapting to him, reacting to his touch in subtle but unmistakable ways. "Focus," Dr. Voss said softly. "Let your intuition guide you." Alex nodded. He closed his eyes for a moment, centering himself, and then stepped fully through the portal. The sensation was unlike anything he had experienced before. It was not a fall, nor a leap, but a gentle, flowing movement, as if the energy itself were carrying him forward. The garage disappeared, replaced by a strange, luminous environment that seemed both familiar and alien. He opened his eyes and took in his surroundings. The air shimmered with energy, subtle waves of light dancing around him. The ground beneath his feet glowed faintly, responding to every step. Patterns in the light shifted as he moved, forming sequences that he could intuitively understand. Alex's mind raced. This place was alive in a way the garage had only hinted at. The portal had carried him into a space where energy itself seemed sentient, adapting to his presence and movements. He realized that his human intuition was the key to interacting with this world safely. Dr. Voss appeared beside him, stepping through the portal as smoothly as he had. "Welcome," she said quietly. "This is the first human-led interaction with this energy plane. Your presence here matters, you shape it." Alex looked around, awe filling him. He had always believed humans were clever, inventive, and adaptable, but this experience made it tangible. Human intuition was more than thought. It was interaction, perception, and guidance in ways no machine could replicate. "Where do we start?" Alex asked. "Observe first, Doctor." Voss replied. "Learn its patterns. The energy will respond to your intent. Step carefully, adjust subtly, and trust your instincts. Remember, your intuition is what makes this possible." Alex nodded, moving slowly. Each step caused ripples in the luminous ground. Each movement he made sent patterns radiating outward, and each ripple adapted in response. He realized that the energy was not static. It was alive in a way that relied on human guidance to maintain stability. He extended his hands, and the patterns shifted more dramatically, forming arcs and waves that danced in rhythm with his motions. He felt exhilaration, excitement, and wonder coursing through him. This was more than exploration, it was partnership. He was learning from the energy and it was learning from him. "This is incredible," he whispered. "I've never felt anything like this." Dr. Voss smiled. "You see the difference, don't you? Machines could never perceive these subtleties. They could not adapt or respond with intuition. Humans are essential. Tonight, you prove it." Alex continued moving through the space, testing the limits of his interaction. He noticed small sequences forming in the energy, patterns that repeated but evolved with every adjustment he made. He realized that this was not just a static environment. It was dynamic, responsive, and capable of learning from him. "It's like a conversation," he murmured to himself. "I move, it responds. I adjust, it adapts. We're working together." "Yes," Dr. Voss said softly. "Exactly. That is why humans matter. You are not just observers, you are participants. Your intuition, perception, and adaptability allow exploration that no machine could achieve." Alex felt a surge of pride. Humanity had always been underestimated in a world dominated by AI and machines. But here, he saw clearly why humans were indispensable. Machines could calculate, predict, and replicate, but only humans could perceive, adapt, and interact with the unknown. Hours seemed to pass in minutes as Alex and Dr. Voss explored the energy plane. Every movement, every adjustment, created new patterns, and every pattern revealed new possibilities. Alex began to understand that his role was not just to observe, but to guide, shape, and interact with the energy in ways that machines could not comprehend. "This is amazing," Alex said finally. "We're not just exploring, we're participating. We're shaping this place." Dr. Voss nodded. "Exactly, and this is only the beginning. Your presence here matters. Your intuition allows us to stabilize energy fields, explore dimensions, and understand possibilities that were previously unreachable. That is the essence of human advantage." Alex smiled, feeling both pride and responsibility. He had started the night thinking he was fixing a light. Now he realized he was part of something extraordinary, an exploration that combined human intuition, creativity, and adaptability with energy and technology beyond ordinary understanding. "Do you think we could go further?" he asked, eyes bright with curiosity. Dr. Voss's smile widened. "With caution, yes, but always guided by intuition. This energy responds to human presence, to subtle gestures, to perception. That is why humans are indispensable. Without you, the next step could never happen." Alex felt a surge of excitement. He had always loved challenges, but this was more than he had ever imagined. He was not just solving problems or repairing devices. He was interacting with reality itself in ways humans had never experienced before. He took a deep breath, focusing on the rippling energy around him. Slowly, carefully, he reached forward. The patterns responded instantly, forming arcs and waves that he could follow intuitively. Each step he took was guided by observation and instinct, every adjustment a conversation with the energy. "This is incredible," he whispered. "It's like we're partners working together." "Yes," Dr. Voss said, "exactly. You shape it, it shapes you. That is the essence of human ingenuity. That is why we matter." As dawn approached, Alex felt a sense of fulfillment and awe. The journey that began with a simple garage light had led him to an entirely new frontier, a space where human intuition, adaptability, and perception were essential to interacting with energy and possibilities beyond imagination. He realized that this experience proved something fundamental. Humans were not just creators of machines. We were explorers, adapters, interpreters, and essential participants in the evolution of technology and energy. Machines could never replace the subtlety of human thought, the perception of nuance, or the ability to adapt instinctively. Dr. Voss stepped closer, her voice quiet but firm. Tonight, you have shown that humans are essential. This is the future of exploration, not machines alone, but humans guiding, adapting, and interacting with possibilities beyond our current understanding. Alex smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride. He had started the night thinking it was a simple repair. Now he understood that he was part of something extraordinary. Humans were still essential, still powerful, still capable of shaping the future in ways no machine could. And as he stood in the glowing energy, surrounded by patterns that danced in response to his presence, he knew that this was only the beginning. He was ready. The portal shimmered softly behind him, a reminder of the world he had left and the world he was now exploring. And in that moment, Alex realized something extraordinary. Human intuition, curiosity, and adaptability were not just tools. They were keys to unlocking the unknown. The journey had begun.